And welcome back to Crossover Thursday, which is presented by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/lockedonnfl and use code all lowercase lockedonnfl to win $50 instantly when you play $5. So, Kyle, let's talk about it. What do the Dolphins have to do to get a win? Because, I mean, they're coming off one and then a bye week. So, I mean, they could string another one together.
I think they need to have something the Colts haven't seen, regardless of what that is. I think you need to take advantage of having an extra week of preparation to get ready for one opponent and hit them with something that is new and not on film, that you have high confidence, and the guys on the field that you're asking to do it have high confidence in their ability to execute it. So I don't necessarily mean like a trick play or a bag of tricks or anything like that, but you need to have a definitive new wrinkle that is built off of something that you've done, and take advantage of this extra preparation because, as we said earlier, just offense has been hard. It's been very challenging thus far this season to move the ball with any level of consistency, particularly in the passing game. I mean, this Dolphins team, they passed for 319 against the Colts, 212 against the Bills, 205 against, or 140, against Seattle, 178 against Tennessee, and then 179 against the Patriots. So I think that's a big piece of the puzzle for them. They also need to not shoot themselves in the foot. A lot of early down penalties, procedural penalties. There's been a big focus in getting up to the line of scrimmage, giving yourself time. For Mike McDaniel, he really has not taken the easy route and trimmed a lot of fat off of their shifts and motions. It's another one of those core principles things that they do, but you're on your third string quarterback and a guy that wasn't on the team at the start of the season. So you've seen some hiccups in that regard, and now you're playing on the road. You played in the road against New England this past game that you played, but being on the road, you can't beat yourself, and that's really what's put them behind the sticks a lot of the times. You see some rhythm, and then the drive comes to a screeching halt because they beat themselves. So as I think about Miami, particularly offensively, I think those are the two big things. And then defensively, it's got to be Zach Sealer and Calais Campbell taking advantage of those matchups that we've talked about on the inside. If you have young and inexperienced players that have to play for the Colts, that has to be like the disruptive spot, because that gives you the ability to do a lot more on your back end and properly space the field against vertical shot plays and not give them time to let that develop.
You mentioned rhythm, and that is kind of exactly what I was going to get at with the Colts. Each of these last couple games, they've started out really, really quickly, march down the field, score a touchdown, and then it's like they just hit a wall, and they're searching for long periods of time before they can find more points. Last week they were really hot, and then it was an interception, and then a couple punts. The week before that, it's like they couldn't find any rhythm whatsoever until really the second half. So for them, number one is establishing an early rhythm with Anthony Richardson, because the last game he played against the Steelers, they did go down and score on the first drive, and then they scored again on the second one. So with him, just try not to miss much of a beat. And then he's also had kind of a problem with some turnovers. This year he had the 6 interceptions compared to just 3 touchdown passes. So start fast and try and find a way to carry that momentum. Like, if you get points early, don't just hit the brick wall. I mean, that's easier said than done. No one plans to do that. But take care of that ball as well if you're Anthony. And that goes to fumbles as well, because, I mean, he's very aware that he's the most athletically gifted person around normally. So he can be a little casual when he's strolling out and someone is bearing down on his blind side and just knocks the ball out. So better ball security for him through the air and on the ground. And then defensively, just, try and find that pressure on the quarterback. Now, if Miami wants to get rid of the ball super quickly and kind of follow the recipe other teams have done recently, just do your best to swarm to the ball, because I think that's kind of the counter to it. Like, if the ball is getting out of the quarterback's hands quickly, you're just not going to get to him. So just swarm to the ball and kind of play with the fundamentals. Make sure you wrap up and take it easy with all the missed tackles that have come to kind of doomed them throughout the season. So either side, I mean, obviously the Dolphins aren't getting a lot of kudos lately, but I don't take this matchup lightly. For the Colts, I think they're certainly capable of putting together a complete game. we've seen them even as recently as last week have some really big plays on offense, defense, and special teams. I mean, their punter Rigoberto Sanchez was just named today AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. I don't know how great love to see that from your punter, but I mean, it is what it is. But shoot, I mean, if they could put together another complete 3-phase game, then I like them in this one. But yeah, I'm not going to ask you for a score, but do you feel positively about this one? I mean, it's not like the Colts are a buzzsaw or anything.
I could see the pathways for Miami winning the game, but I just don't think with who's out there playing and what the coaching has looked like. I think the coaching has not helped their players in some cases with all of this adversity. And you kind of saw it in the final drive against New England offensively where they called 7 straight runs. And it's like, oh, there it is. Former run game coordinator, really getting dialed in. They're committed to it. And lo and behold, they go down the field to score the game-winning touchdown. Like, where's that been without your starting quarterback? Like, if you told me that they could have some level of the kind of success that they did against New England and Mike was going to call the game that way, I'd feel like, yeah, I think Miami has a good chance to come in here in Indianapolis and win the game. But I don't know that that's going to happen. And because I don't know that, like, my expectations are kind of nil. And then that way you come out the other side of it and you say, okay, this is a continuation of the troubling trend that you had without your starting quarterback. Or you say, hey, this is a nice kind of foundational thing that you can build on now that your starting quarterback's eligible to come back. So that's kind of the frame of mind that me and I know a lot of Dolphins fans are at coming into this game.
As long as everybody has a good time, I guess it's all that really matters.
That's all that matters. Let's have some fun.